Hi, this is Karina Snow, Healing Arts Maven. Welcome to Adapt and Root. This is a 4-week masterclass in building immunity, adapting to stress, and being more adaptable in general in our lives and our systems. So welcome. I am so glad that you are here. This is meant to be a class for everyone. So I will try to make all the information really digestible, and I will try not to overwhelm you. Some of the elements that we'll be talking about are from Chinese medicine, and I will explain it, but I won't go into a lot of background of Chinese medicine because it gets very in depth very quickly. But the reason why I include that in my teaching is because I believe that that is information that everyone should have, and it can add so much to our health and to our well-being. So let's get started. So the first thing that I need you to do is just to agree to a few considerations for this course. So the first one I'd like you to agree to, if you can, is that you are able to show up and do the work for this class. And if you agree to these, what you're going to do is just shoot me a quick email saying, yes, Karina, I agree to these. So the first one is that you're going to show up and do the work for this class. The second one is that you are going to look at the beliefs, at your beliefs and mindset. And I will guide you how to do this. But this is one of the most important things that I will teach you. And without this, the self-care protocols become much more difficult and can take longer to implement. Okay. And then the third one is that you will be kind to yourself, that you'll mother yourself, and that you will not negatively judge yourself. Okay, so if you can agree to those, just shoot me a quick email saying, yes, Karina, I can agree to that. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to begin this first class talking about healing mindset. And this, again, is probably the most important thing that we are going to go over. So we're going to start with an exercise. You have your piece of paper or a journal and a pen. Here's what you're going to do. I want you to write down all of your health concerns that you have. And you can include yourself, if you would like to include for a child or another family member or your partner, any health concerns that are causing you worry, anxiety, that you're thinking about a lot. Okay, and you can pause the video here so that you have time to do this. And I would actually like you to pause it right now because there's going to be a couple other parts after this, okay? Okay, so you've written down all of your health concerns. Now what I want you to do is look over them and circle any of your concerns on your list that are going to be helped, healed, or prevented by worry or concern alone. Got it? Circle anything on your list that is going to be helped, prevented, or healed by worry or concern alone. Now, I am not talking about preventive care. I'm not talking about your health, getting healthier, exercising, eating different foods. I'm not talking about going to see your doctor or practitioner regularly. I'm not talking about any of that, okay? I'm not taking any of that away. All I'm saying is to circle anything on that list that by worry or concern alone will be helped. Okay. Okay. Did you circle anything? Let me know if you did. But my guess is that you didn't. And so let's talk about this, okay? So there's two things that we're going to talk about here. And one is from a universal consciousness perspective, and one is from a Chinese medicine perspective. And I'm just seeing if I have this book. I was going to read you a quote, but of course I don't have it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this book that I'd like you to get. It's The Magic Path of Intuition by Florence Shin. It's a little book. It's got lots of pictures. So find that book. It's a good one to have around. And this is the kind of universal consciousness realm of things. Some other people that talk about this, I will also list in the notes. Okay, so concern for our health is a huge motivating factor for many people to do self-care, to eat differently, to exercise, whatever it is. And this is also not what I'm talking about. So if you are someone who's motivated by concern over your health, like a fear that you're going to become unhealthy, that you're going to become more and more unfit, if that's what motivates you to exercise, to eat differently, then that's fine. That alone, and that's very common. Most of us, I think 90 or 95% of people are motivated by that like concern or fear response. And most of us need that to some degree to kind of get our ass in gear, right? The other people are motivated by more of a positive outcome. So this might also be you. I think this is actually most true for myself. So if you're one of these people who gets motivated by the reward at the end of doing this work, then you know that about yourself. So part of your homework for this week is figuring out if you are more motivated by concern and fear, or if you're more motivated by benefit and reward of what might happen. And it could be a mixture of both, but what you can do is think back into your past when you've made changes in your health, whether you've started a new exercise routine, if you started to eat differently, or go see a new practitioner, or get inspired about changing and adding in some self-care. Think about what that motivating factor was, and that will be your answer. Okay, so when we talk about worry or concern alone, this is kind of a universal consciousness piece that I'll start with. So, and I'll speak about this in broad brushstrokes. So the universe gathers its steam and directs its energy based on what we believe, what we tell it, where our intention is, and what we focus on. Okay, so think about that for just a moment. The universe moves, focuses, directs its attention based on our intentions, what we're telling it, our words, and our beliefs. So if you have a belief that this winter is going to be a terrible winter for the flu, that you're going to be stuck in bed for weeks, that you're going to suffer, the universe is listening to this, and the universe is hearing this, and it's gathering steam, and it's saying, okay, well, seems like she wants this. Let's bring this to her, because it's not able to delineate. It just feels that energy and moves it towards you. Okay. I have many people in my family who have or have had breast cancer. And so for many years, this was something that I thought about. And as I approached 40, I started to become more concerned about it. And I had surgery on my chest when I was a child, when I was 9, and I had a lump on my right breast that I got taken out. And so I have some scar tissue there. And so all of these things combined led me to start this kind of cycle of starting to like worry about it. And a little ways into this, I was told very directly by one of my teachers that I needed to stop. And the directness of her saying that to me was enough for me to understand that. And since then, it's been a couple years now. Since then, now I understand that my thoughts and my beliefs around my body and around breast cancer specifically are paramount. And it is so, so important to bring in positive thoughts and positive energy and move with the essence of I am in the flow of the universe as a healthy individual. And I am bringing healthy healing energy into my body, into my breasts, into whichever part of your body you are working on. Okay, does this make sense? So it's really common for people to say, I feel worried about XYZ. I feel concerned about this disease or this symptom. And I would just say that there's a switch in languaging that wants to happen. And that is all you need to do. You don't need to stop taking care of yourself. In fact, this will probably help you to take better care of yourself. But what you need to do is be very, very mindful of the words that you are telling yourself, because all of those words are heard by the universe. Okay? Okay. So that's the universal consciousness piece of it. The other piece is more specifically about worry and overthinking from a Chinese medicine perspective. So in Chinese medicine, the spleen, which is the major digestive organ, is tied to overthinking, worrying, over-concerning. And I know that in Western medicine, we don't talk about the spleen at all, but you can just think about the connection in between like digestion and worry here. And so, and also, I'm just going to talk about the spleen for a couple of minutes. So the thing with the spleen is that it's a little tender. It's like one of the first organ systems to get affected. So here's how the spleen gets affected. Worry, overwork. So those of us that have been in school for a long time, college, grad school, periods of time where you're studying a lot, your spleen, you lose the chi of your spleen. If you spend a lot of time in front of the computer, it zaps the chi of your spleen a little bit. If you eat a lot of cold, energetically cold foods, it can zap the spleen a little bit. So energetically cold foods can be lots of foods that are cold in temperature, like smoothies. It can be lots of salads without anything else, especially in the wintertime. This is not so much like a summertime thing. In summer, the spleen is a lot more adaptable, but we're talking mostly about the other 3 seasons here. And thunderstorms. And other things that affect the spleen. Some other foods, depending if you have food intolerances or allergies, those will also tend to affect the spleen. Okay. I'm glad we're getting some rain here. This is exciting. It's been so hot and dry. Okay, so the spleen directly related to worry. Okay, so what's happening here is that your chi, your life force, your energy flowing through you is lessened when you're spinning your wheels all the time. And that is the opposite of what we're trying to do when we want to build immunity, right? So when we get specifically into the immunity piece, one of the things I'm going to talk about is how to build your spleen chi, and sometimes how to dry your spleen chi out. Spleen has a tendency to go in the damp direction. I'll talk a little bit more about damp later. But damp can have a tendency to look like congestion in the throat. If your bowels tend to be kind of sticky, lots of wiping, that's sort of damp. Things, gynecological things like yeast infections, BV, sometimes like urinary tract infection has an element of damp and heat in it. So if you have a lot of those kind of symptoms going on, hemorrhoids have a damp element. So if that's kind of your MO, then your spleen chi might be lessening, and you may also have some dampness going on. And then there's foods that tend to exacerbate that, like sugars, excessive dairy, excessive wheat. Those are all kind of dampening foods. Okay, so, but what my main point in this is really about the concern and the worry. And by shifting your belief around this, you can do yourself so much good. So what you're going to do is related to this list that you wrote about your health concerns. You're going to choose, you can just choose one or two for the sake of this exercise. And you're going to write down, my mind says, and then you're going to write down one of your concerns. My mind says that I am scared of getting sick with breast cancer, right? So write down one of these. My mind says, and you can phrase the rest of it how you'd like to. So you can pause the recording here for just a moment. Okay, so my mind says, and then what you're going to do, you're going to stop and you're going to see if you believe that or not. Do you believe what your mind is saying? And this is the real separation piece, right? This is where, as humans, we're able to observe our mind and also step away from it. So that's something amazing about humans that no other animal is able to do. So you're just going to observe your mind, and you're going to decide if you believe this or not. And you're going to decide instead what you want to believe about your health. So in my case, I want to believe, and I say that I have healthy, happy breasts, that the energy in my body is moving in just the way that it should, and that I am bringing into my body only healing, healthy, happy energy. Okay, so you're going to do this for one or two of your concerns. If you want to do it for more, that's great. Okay, so these are homework pieces, right? So I'd like you to do these and then to share them with your partner. Okay. And this is the first part. This is probably the most important part of this program. So really spend some time doing this. Do not gloss this over. Okay, got it? Hit me up in the group if you have any questions about this. Okay, bye.